How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the, how would we call it? The first race podcast, I suppose. Just introducing the new season as a whole. I know we've already gone through the first race, so we are going to get straight into that. My name is Jaco, and I am not alone. I am joined by the other two lads that I had last time. It was Gary and Killer Blue.
Hello.
Hello. I know it's a bit of an awkward intro because I didn't know exactly what to say in the intro, but hey ho.
But just like I said, we've completely replaced Mark now.
Yeah, Mark, you're in the bin. You're in the bin.
Permanent upgrade.
Permanent upgrade.
I bring class and
know.
sophistication to the podcast.
You can. You certainly would. You certainly would. And then, I mean, Mark could also join us at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
We do still need the drunken mess on the podcast at some points.
I'm sure if he does well around Bahrain, he'll be on the next podcast.
Oh, I am highly confident of that.
He'll be chomping at the bit.
Yeah. But really, just talking about in this podcast, as I said, it's just more about the race reviews for all 6 divisions, including the PC one as well. And what was that? What else was in this podcast, Gary? Because I know you're the one that's sort of conjuring it up.
Quick Bahrain preview before to end the podcast. That'll be it. But yeah, we have a new. We're going to do the podcast slightly different this season. We got race reports for each division, and the way this will be done this season, instead of the 3 of us talking about divisions, which frankly we don't really know enough about to give our opinions, we have decided to get people from each division who are much more incisive to talk us through it. So for example, for Division 5 we have Ivor, who will talk us through it. Division 4 we have XL Dawn. Division 3 Carmentalist. Division 2 QVR Daka, and Division 1 you have myself and Killer Blue, and of course J. Cole will talk us through PC. But yeah, I feel like this will be a lot easier for people, for us especially, and for people listening. It gives them a bit more insight to the division, because obviously they know what they're talking about, so hopefully people enjoy it. But we'll hop straight into it with the first one, and we have Ivor talking through Division 5 for us. Today, for Division 5, we got Ivor to the D5com to take us through the main talking points of Division 5, so off you go, Ivor.
Well, for the opening round in Division 5, we had Ryan B really getting pushed for pole position by Aquaplaning by just over half a tenth, and Niles and Invictus also pushing that, so early favourite Ryan may not have it his own way. And then moving on into the race, lap 1, absolute carnage with 8 drivers into the pits at the end of lap 1 for front wing change, including Jasper, United Bosnia, Alt Maverick and Dave Javu, which left a lovely little gap for the top 4 to kind of pull away. But on lap 4, DRS Aquaplaning DNS from 2nd place, bringing out the first of the VSCs. And as it ended, Invictus with a fantastic restart, overtaking Ghost Recon for 3rd place, and then spinning it only 4 corners later, getting himself heavy wing damage. And after the pit stops were made around lap 9 and 10, Smitsky able to jump Ghost Recon with a fantastic undercut to get himself up into 3rd. As we had Cloudy Cloud on lap 12 DNFing at the infamous turn 12, which brought out another VSC, which changed the complexity of the race massively, as Niles, who was keeping up with Ryan B for the race lead, ended up getting a drive-through penalty for speeding under that VSC, which led to him being given that penalty and dropping far back down the field. And after serving that penalty, he loses the back end on the exit of turn 4, giving him heavy front wing damage, making him completely out of the running. Lap 18 saw one of the front runners who showed great pace at the start, but with that early incident he did drop through the field, Invictus retiring on lap 18. And a fantastic battle 1 lap later between Niles and Dave Javu, battling for 8th. They come together at turn 14, leading to Niles spinning out. Then on lap 21, Stephen and Jordan came together at turn 1. Jordan spinning, and Stephen, being the good sportsman, waits for him to go back through, and this was for the final point paying position. As Alt Maverick, who pitted on lap 1, he goes into the pits for a set of soft tyres after trying to battle with United Bosnia for such a long time. He opts out for a fresh set of softs, coming out in 6th place as Swip also goes into the pits as well, but gets massively held up by his teammate who was a lap down, who also went into the pits. And lap 23, the battle for second started to heat up as Ghost Recon overtook Smitsky around the outside of turn 1 for second place. And then lap 24, Flip retires after holding his teammate up in the pits. He brings out the final VSC. And then, with 2 laps to go, United Bosnia, who pitted on lap 1 for hards, his tyres finally let go as he ended up with a puncture at the end of the lap. So he didn't lose a huge amount of time, but he did spin. And with that puncture, he dropped from 4th place all the way to 7th. As we round up the race results with Ryan B getting the first win of the season, but there is prospect for some drivers to maybe take the challenge to him this season, and the fastest lap went to United Bosnia with a 1:22.1. Great lap from him, as Ryan B and Dave Jarvu, the only guys who made it through that race without a single 3-second time penalty. And Haas currently leading the constructors, with Ghost Recon picking up 2nd place and Alt Maverick picking up that 5th place, putting them on 28 points, 2 points ahead of the Mercedes, and Ferrari only 3 points behind the Mercs. So it is looking exciting as we move into round 2 for Bahrain.
Thank you. That sounds like it was quite the race. It sounds like a lot of incidents, which I think is to be expected with Division 5, but yeah, it's good to know that Ryan B won't be all on his own near the front this season, which I like to hear. But thank you, Ira, for that. And now moving on to Division 4, we have XL Dawn to take us through it. And moving on now to Division 4, I am glad to say I have XL Dawn to take us through it. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm fine, and you?
Good. Looking forward to hearing all about Division 4.
Yeah, it was a chaotic start into the season, I would say. I mean, you and Vorox, I think the whole League of Europe got to know what happened there on the last lap between Calvin and Fast in turn 1. I think Eva was also around, and yeah, we had Fast in position 2, I think, or was it 3? Being kind of taken out from Calvin, which created a big mess afterwards in the chat with some guys also. Being honest, from my point of view, I think Calvin had some damage on his wing. I'm not sure about it, but from what I saw in the stream, it was like he had contact before with Iver, I think, like lap 22 or something, into the second last corner. I don't know if he had wing damage there actually, but at least it looked like this in the stream, so I wouldn't put the full blame on him, but yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, it was a thing you could avoid.
Yeah.
And I mean, Fuss was at this point without any penalties, so yeah, for him it was a little annoying, I guess. And his reaction,
we saw his reaction. Was it?
Quite.
Yeah.
So Arvin this, I think Total Peace was totally dominating from qualifying over race. I mean, in qualifying he was like 0.5 ahead. Behind him, I would say it's very, very close. We are like P2 to 12. It was like 0.5 seconds of a gap between each other. So
very close.
It it was like there's no mistake allowed in qualifying. You need to be there from the start. And yeah, for heated it was not so nice during the qualifying. I think he had a small crash. I don't know if it was blocking, but he got a 10 place grid penalty. So for him it was really a bad position to start into the season from behind. I mean, he made a lot of positions up, but yeah, it was still, I think, not the best way for him to start the season. And yeah, in general, I think the race from the beginning, it was, I would say, I think everyone did some mistakes at the point. I think I started this party in lap 3 as I cut the corner, get dirty tires and spin my car.
Yeah.
So I had to pit very early. It was lap 3. And funny enough, as I came in for the hards, I saw already a safety car was out. So for me it was like, I can come back into the race. I think it was JD Nolan at this point with a DNF. And yeah, so it was for the strategies. I think some guys stayed out. I mean, a lot of guys went for the hards and tried to bring them to the end. And so after we had the restart, it was Saul and Raj having contact, which I also noticed. Both had to pit in front of me, and as they went into pit, also he did spun it. And yeah, it just carried on this way. A few laps later, I saw Mats also spinning in front of me out of the last corner, just as he did. And I'm not sure if it was this situation, but there was a second bigger safety car created by this one, I think. And so I think only Iver from the front people stayed out, and all the others went for mediums. So this was like just bringing a lot of chaos for the strategies, and it started again from zero. And then we had the last lap, and I mean the last few laps with Calvin and Iver having contact. Then it was Calvin and Fast into turn 1. And the last lap also, Raj, my teammate, had an overtake on Mats. I don't know if Mats was in this case just irritated by the yellow flags. But still, it was a nice move. I was a little scared because he came very close to me. I just saw in the rear mirror everything was getting big. And the finish line was also very interesting with a lot of penalties going on. And so we had a result which maybe some people didn't expect. And that was just my view from the race. I mean, I hope the guys won't roast me in the chat for whatever I say here. And I'm really looking forward to the second race because from my point of view, it will start at 0 as Total Peace is now going to D3. Goldie is joining. Want to welcome him here at this point. And I think we should just be careful to, it's like Bahrain will be for us the race 1, is everybody wants to be there in front to show that they can replace Total Peace in front. And I just hope for an interesting race also for the stream. Maybe a little less DNFs. I think we had 6 or 7.
Wow.
And so I think it was for sure an interesting start into the season to race and also to watch it, I think. So I'm happy for this.
Yeah, it sounds like it was an interesting race, alright, and I think I speak on behalf of all of D4 who are quite happy to see Total Peas has been moved up to Division 3, and because he definitely, besides him, I think the grid's very close, and like you said, everyone's going to be looking out now to try and impress, and with Goldie coming down, he's going to be one to look out for as well, so definitely a division to keep an eye on. I thank you for that race report, and now we'll move on to Carmetlis, who will take us through Division 3. And moving on now to Division 3, I'm glad to say we have the voice of Division 3, some would say. We have Carmetlis, and he is going to take us through Division 3. off you go.
Brilliant. Hi, everyone. So yeah, obviously, like Gary said, I'm going to be taking you through Division 3 this season. So if we'll just give you a little rundown, firstly, of the race results from Division 3 last time out. So the race results from Division 3, it was Yorno that took the win in the end, only by 6/10 of a second after a pretty amazing comeback in the latter stages of the race. Caesar took second place in that race. He was fourth across the line, but second on penalties compared to other people around him. Third place went the way of Eduk in the Ferrari. So that was the podium result from Australia last time out. And if any of you tuned into the Division 3 race, which I'm sure a few of you watching may have done, you may have known that it was a pretty chaotic one, to say the least. So a lot of action was going on throughout the race, a few incidents as well, but majority of the race was a fairly clean one, to say the least. Just thought I'd go through a few talking points in the race as well, so a few highs and lows for some of the drivers in the field. Just before I do that, though, I round off the rest of the top 10. So Paul came across the line in 4th, ahead of Mark in 5th, Black Mamba 6th, B Morgan 7th, Stumpy 8th, Jekyll 9th, Damon 10th. The final 2 point scorers in the race were Goldie and TTG Storm. So they were the point scorers for the Australia race. So just a few talking points. So obviously, firstly, I just mentioned that Yorno won the race. It's fair to say that if you tuned into the race about halfway through, you would not have expected Yorno to win, because there was a safety car midway through, well, towards the latter stages of the race. Yorno decided to put a set of medium tyres on for the end, and he came from, I believe it was 12th or 13th at the safety car restart, and he came through to win the race. He had an amazing comeback with some hard but fair racing, I would say. Some of the overtakes were definitely ballsy, I would say, is the right word, but they were very good, and it was a good comeback from Yorno. So he came back to win the race for what was second on the grid. So good stuff from Yorno. I would say as well, driver of the day, obviously, for Division 3, as voted for by people on the Liga Europe Twitter account. Driver of the day was Caesar, and I don't blame him for choosing Caesar, because Caesar joined the session through midway through qualifying, so wasn't able to set qualifying time and started P20 on the grid, and he came through to finish second on penalties, 4th on the road, with a bizarre strategy. If you look back, you can see that Caesar finished second with a soft, hard strategy. A hard, soft, hard strategy, actually, sorry. I got that the wrong way round. Hard, soft, hard. So if that gets you a P2, then you know that the race is crazy. So that congrats to Caesar for driver of the day for Division 3 as well. I have to give a quick shout out to some other good drives in the race as well. Eduk had a good race. He led for the majority of the second half of the race, but unfortunately just didn't quite have the pace at the end, or the tyres really at the end, to hold Yorno off. Same with Paul. Paul had a good race. He came home in 4th. Mark led the early starts of the race after an incredibly good start. I don't know how he didn't jump the start, but it was an amazing start for him when he was leading the majority of the first half of the race, but the strategy in the end kind of let Mark down. He was on a 2-stop. He went from soft to mediums, and his first pit stop was on lap 3, so we could not take the mediums to the end of the race. So apart from that, Mark had really good pace, and some other people that really struggled in the race, though. I have to give a shout out to Hardy. Hardy, if you're watching, I cursed you. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that I cursed you. I do this a lot. I do this a lot in a lot of commentary things I do. But Hardy stole pole position at the end of qualifying with an amazing lap. And it's fair to say that from turn 1 of the race onwards, his race went horribly wrong. So he had contact at the first corner or the first lap, and just was never able really to recover from that. As did a lot of people. A lot of big Division 3 names that we saw from last season failed to finish the race at the weekend. So Bree, Hardy, Callum, Pelly, J. Luke, big names, all that qualified well, that all have good race results from previous seasons, could not finish the Australia race. So a lot of people struggled, and a lot of people as well that are new to the division, that Dylan and I predicted to have a good season, and I'm sure a lot of people predicted to have a good season, didn't get off to the best start. So Tun and B Morgan, both house drivers, struggled for pace, and YHYY as well, came down from Division 2, race winner in Division 2 last season, comes into Division 3, and was not, he had obviously a few incidents in the race with YHYY, but he just did not have the pace to compete at the front, unfortunately. So that's why he fell right to the back of the field. I think he was the last person to finish in the end, was YHYY. So looking to Bahrain, I haven't got a clue who's going to win in Bahrain, because I predicted some people to win in Australia and I got it completely wrong. So it would be dumb of me to predict what Bahrain's going to be, but I would say look out for the likes of Yorno and Caesar again, and then maybe some of the people that struggle in Australia to come back fighting in Bahrain, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to appreciate you name dropping them after you jinxed Hardy last week, but Yeah, I watched this race, and I think D3 again is going to take the title of the craziest and just maddest race division in the league. And yeah, it was interesting to watch, and I look forward to watching it for the rest of the season. And,
As do I.
yeah.
I'm surely I'm not going to get a break on a Saturday night. Division 3 commentary straight into a D2 race. I'm not going to be able to. It's going to be a long weekend for me.
It's going to be long weekends for you. Beware it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for Division 3 race review, and not race review, race report, and we'll move on to Daka now, who will take us through Division 2. And moving on now to the Division 2 race report, I'm glad to say I have QVR Daka with me, the voice, or the better half of the D2 comms. Sorry for stopping, but how you doing, man?
Thanks very much, Gary. Yep, not sure if you're going to please everyone with that statement, but moving on anyway. So the first race of the season, of course, at Australia for Division 2. What were the proceedings? We'll run you through it. So in qualifying, Iro Dillon took a slightly surprising pole position. He was joined by Short on the front row, and those guys would face off at the front. Of course, we saw several drivers as well coming to blows earlier on, particularly the two Alfa Romeo drivers were at the back of the grid with a lot of work to do. But into the race itself, Dillon got away from the line okay, but Short showed blistering race pace, and it was quite easily able to overhaul the Red Bull driver in the opening few laps of the Grand Prix, and he took the lead away from Dillon, and his teammate Yelt was also up in the podium places. But then early on in the race, it was LR Hypes that crashed, spinning coming out of the last corner, and that brought out the first of several safety cars in the race. And what interesting dynamic were thrown up for that? Well, the majority of the field started on the soft tyres would pit, but two drivers that started on the mediums would stay out, those being Carmentalist and Ben JS, and they would throw a little bit of a spanner in the works up there at the top end of the field. And of course they were holding up the likes of Short, Dillon and Yelt up in that leading fight, and they were struggling to really make progress against those top two. And just about later on in the race then, with overtakes few and far between, Yelt got past Dillon and was looking at his teammate Short. Went for a lunge at the turn 9, but it came to blows. They made contact. Short went off the track and gave up most of his leading advantage, and of course Yelt spun out and dropped well down the field there, well down the order. So that was a bit of an error from Yelt that cost him dear in that leading fight. A few laps later though, it would be Packer that would spin in a very similar fashion to Hypes, that would bring out a second safety car in the race, and your race leaders Carmentalist and Ben came in. So Short took that lead. He was ahead of Dillon now after Yelt's mistake, and Rick as well had occupied a podium position. Those were your top three at the midpoint of the race. And after the second safety car restart, the real story was Yelt and Matt on fresh medium tyres, working their way through and pulling off a series of overtakes to go from near the back of the grid to near the front. In particular, I think Matt made a brilliant overtaking move on Skyzy at turn 11, which was absolutely stellar. So those two made amazing progress, as well as Yelt though, as he caught up to the back of Maledictus and Wesker. He went for a move on Wesker in a turn 3, but it went a little bit wrong. He went in too deep and took out Maledictus, so it was another error for Yelt, as he was pulling off some great overtakes up to that point, but just came to blows with the Portuguese driver. And so that was pretty much it then. Matt made up more progress and actually got himself into that podium fight. Yelt kept going and actually made his way through into P2 on track. It was fantastic stuff. But M Short would hang on to the race win and managed to take home the 25 points from the race. And in the end, on penalties, Matt managed to take second place superbly, and Yelt got third in the end. But of course, we're going to see how that's sorted out with a few stewards reports later on.
I got a feeling Yelt won't hold that third position, but D2 definitely living up to the name once again, like last season. Chaotic and entertaining race. I was quite surprised with Short and Matt's pace. They were very, very quick, and like you said, the Yelt was very quick, but got caught up in a lot of incidents which I expect to get punished, especially the Mallow one, because the Mallow one was, I think, the worst of the lot. But yeah, thank you very much for that. D2, as always, surprising and giving us plenty of action. And I quite look forward to watch Bahrain this Saturday, along with the rest of the season for Division 2. But thank you very much for that, Dan. And now we'll move on. We'll move on now to myself and Killer Blue, who will take you through Division 1. And moving on now to the final race report, we have Division 1, of course. Myself and Killer Blue are going to take us through it. How are you doing, Killer?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Gary.
Good,
nice
good.
to be here, as always.
So, yeah, we're going to go quickly through the main events, like the other divisions, through Division 1. And, so yeah, what would you call key moments in this division, if you had to pick?
Well, the standout is lap 1, I think, because that shook up so many races.
Yeah.
I was sad to see Cookie retire lap 1, because I was very intrigued to see what he could do. Because he's shown some lightning pace in the flashes that I've seen.
Yeah.
But it did give us some kind of standout performances came out of that, and I think you got a highlight driver of the day, drop your 518, going from 17th to 3rd on his LOE debut.
Not bad,
I'm
not bad.
Correct in saying he went medium to soft, didn't he?
No, he went hard, soft.
Hard soft.
Yeah.
I'll say I wasn't sure he was part of the medium soft gang, which in itself was, I think, another surprise that we saw that how successful that strategy was.
Yeah, I think that was aided a little bit in the lap 1 incident with Toxic, because I think a lot of soft runners got caught up in that, which, like yourself, you had to pit and stuff, a few others, which just made it less traffic for them, which made their strat work. But yeah.
And along with Dropper as well, Neo going from 13th to 5th. Very impressive return, even if his qualifying wasn't quite so impressive. But,
I had to... Go on, sorry.
I would say it's for me, like, to summarise, I think it was a very... I don't get the impression it was an exciting race, but it was certainly an interesting one, tactically, because you had the blend of strategies. And you had a few drivers that were kind of out of position from the get-go. In the case of Drop Your Neo, Campbell, after the lap 1 shenanigans, he never really found his way back into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think something that's gone under the radar a little bit is Montana actually winning and beating Altrix straight out on pace.
Gutted about my teammate. There go my hopes of the D1 title.
But yeah, because Montana was very quick. Like, he got pole just about. He just about won the race. Like, it was very tight the whole way through, and it gives a bit of a... Yeah, I think it gives a bit of a sign that maybe Altrix won't run away with this, as everyone hoped or thought. And I hope Montana can push him somewhat.
It was nice to see from kind of a sporting perspective, and but very much for the second half of that race, I think Montana had Altrix on a piece of string. They were nigh inseparable, I think, for pretty much the entire race, and I think the gap in the end was 0.336 seconds. So I hope that kind of sets the tone for the title battle we're going to see.
Hopefully, but of course Bahrain's the next track, and that we all know that's pad heaven. So
so it should swing the pendulum back out for Trix as well.
Yeah.
I hope, anyway.
I hope it comes back and forth for the rest of the season. But yeah, I think that rounds up Division 1. Like you said, it wasn't the most entertaining race. I had a few interesting stories. People like Toxic, who I think he went under the radar a little bit because his pace was very good, but his pens were a bit of a problem for him, and of course the lap 1 incident that he caused. But yeah, overall I think it was a pretty solid race. Not the most entertaining, but hopefully Bahrain can give us something more to talk about. But yeah, anything else to say before we finish?
I'd say it being a boring race, but I think that's because the standard of driving and the quality of driving D1 is so high that you don't get these incidents that kind of bring out safety car after safety car.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit disrespectful calling it boring, because you look at other divisions and you see safety cars, crashes, and
Yeah.
in Division 1 they're all robots, they don't make mistakes, so
It's definitely boring for
to
when
watch.
races are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite reflective, I think, of the higher standards that you see in D1.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that wraps up the race reports for this week. Hopefully everyone enjoyed them. They're planned to stay for the season, but we'll see how they go. But thank you, Killer, for that.
And now onto the PC race part of the podcast, race review, sorry, shall I say. So, of course, the first actual race going ahead on the PC side, we had the full 20 drivers turn out. It was a very good turnout, and I'm hopefully expecting this to carry on throughout the entire season. To everyone that did race, thank you very much. Anyone that's also, couldn't let me know that they couldn't race, again, thank you very much for that. But in case you guys didn't manage to catch it, Mr. Anchor started on pole, finished on pole. I think had pretty much a quiet and dominant race. So congratulations to him for that. Bit of a controversial one as well. I think Syke ended up finishing in second and Jonathan in third. Now, I think Jonathan, what happened to him, he just had a few connection issues. I think he would have been leading the race and got disconnected for quite some time. Got to try to get him back in as quick as possible, and I still managed to finish third, so it was a good result from him. The one that's a bit of a surprise is Warren. Now, I talked to Syke after the race because I know him and Warren are having a bit of a battle, and I think he must have gotten a bit of wing damage from that. So, a bit unfortunate for Warren. I know he came in, put on another set of, I think he was put on a set of softs, made his way up to Dan and to Lawmans. Got past Dan, but Dan beat him on penalties. Speaking of that, Lawmans and Dan, I think Lawmans fourth, Dan in fifth. As I said, Warren was in sixth. A few of the new guys that raced in there as well. Ones that I wasn't actually expecting to be within the top 10, done very well. You've got the likes of Frey, who I believe finished in P8-ish. Yeah, P8. E2, who was actually he was like one of the last ones to end up joining the league. I didn't know what his pace would be like because I think this is his first actual race, and he came in P7. He done quite well actually, because I think he was sort of keeping up with the majority of the front runners. But yeah, he finished 7th for Frey and 8th. Vallejo, again a new one that just joined the PC league. He was the only reserve that raced in that race. He finished in P9. Black Panther finished in P10. The racing point of Keep Janssen had a very good start. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a spin, but he still managed to get himself 2 points. V5 from the back ended up finishing with the final point in P12. A few guys at DNF. It was a bit of a dodgy one. I think maybe a little bit of calming down on driving for a few of these guys, but I'm sure they would have learned from the Australia race. And as we were saying, or as a few were saying within the majority of the podcast, it could have been a bit cleaner racing. I suppose that also goes for the PC side, but it is Australia. Australia isn't exactly good for racing, so well, I'll say it's not good, but it's not the best track for racing. No. So hopefully we can get that. It'll be a lot better, I reckon, come Bahrain. I haven't got any hopes for Vietnam, but we'll see how that goes when the time comes to it. But no, I would definitely say the PC side, it was definitely a great success. A great success to start off with.
Very nice.
So, as I said, we can only go up from here, and I'm looking forward to doing comms for the rest of the season for it. And yeah, we're moving on to the next section of the podcast. Now, moving on to the final part of the podcast, it is going to be the preview of the track of Bahrain. Now, of course, I've got Gary and Killer back with myself. How do you reckon it's going to go, lads, between all 6 divisions?
I think we're going to see some last lap punctures. Is the thing that I can think is the only thing I think I think I can say with a reasonable certainty that we will see in some division we'll see a couple of last lap punctures, because the 1 and 2 stop borderline is so marginal.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think people are going to ask too much out of the tyres. Some divisions might think they can get away with an extra lap or 2 on a tyre, and the thing's going to go bust. But yeah, I would like Killer said, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few punchers across the divisions. But I'm expecting better racing than Australia, because I don't think Australia provides the greatest racing in the world. I think Bahrain is going to be a much it's just an overall better track for racing, I think.
Yeah, it's much wider, more heavy braking zones. It's a track that lends itself to wheel-to-wheel racing in a way that Australia just doesn't at all. So I'm expecting much more entertainment than we saw last week. Maybe fewer crashes, fewer mistakes, fewer safety cars, but certainly more wheel-to-wheel action.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that as well. And like you were saying as well, with it's going to be a lot more wheel-to-wheel action. And as you were saying about the tyres as well, like people getting punctures. We also got to remember that ABS and stuff like that, and people driving on pad are also going to be factors playing into potentially getting punctures. I was saying the other day, I actually think that racing like no ABS and even with the wheel around Bahrain is a lot easier now than what it was last game, and I think it's a lot more harsher on guys that are racing on pads with ABS, even though it is still pretty good in this game. It's like, if you're using ABS, you know your tyres are more than likely going to die come the end of it, and especially with how like tyre selections are this game, it's going to be almost near impossible if guys are using ABS to try and avoid a puncture if they're trying to one-stop it.
I do think. Sorry, I just wanted to make one quick. I do think ABS users do struggle more with tyre wear. I still think they could do one-stops. I just think they struggle a bit more.
It's just more high risk.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how many people, particularly in the top 2 divisions, go for mediums to qualify.
See, I think in Division 1 there's only one guy who can confidently start on mediums and not risk track position, and that's Alphatrix.
It is, but if there's a collective consensus in D1 that the medium is the better race time, the better time to start on, people will go for it, and we will see 6, 7, 8 people in the top 10 go for it. Because it happened Singapore last year, people just did not want to go near the soft. And if people decide medium's better tyre, they will qualify on it, and they'll take the risk if not many people go with the soft.
We'll find out come Saturday. But for Division 2, I don't think anyone. Well, maybe there might be, but I don't think if you're going to qualify mediums in Division 2, you're not going to get top 10. You might not even get top 12, given how close the grid is there.
It's so close.
Yeah, so I don't think anyone has the pace advantage or the buffer to afford to qualify on mediums, unless everyone else, or unless a decent amount qualify on mediums. I don't think it'll work. But yeah, if you want to, I think we should do some predictions. I don't know what you guys feel like, but do you want to do a top 3 for each division?
Let me reacquaint myself with that. Drivers from T2
Jacob, do you want to go start off with PC?
Yeah, I'll start off with the PC side. So I reckon in third, I reckon the German of Jonathan is probably going to take third. I'm hoping he might finish a little bit higher because he did try and he should have won last week at Australia, but just connection issues just messed him over. But I'm still going to say he's in the top 3, so he's going to finish third. I think Warren's going to finish second, and I think Syke is going to win. So Shadow or Jake, Syke, I reckon he's going to win as the top 3 for PC. Shall I carry on for all the other 5 divs as well?
Yeah, we can. Might as well. Sure.
D5, I reckon Jav's actually going to win this time. If he is racing, I think he said he's racing. But yeah, I think Jav will win. I think Ryan B will get second. It's going to be a close battle between the pair of them, though.
Yeah.
And I reckon. I'm trying to think of who finished third in D3 last week. Was it that? It wasn't that Svenos Dios,
It
was
was
it?
Nils, was it? It was Niles, is that his name? No, sorry, he crashed.
It was Smitsky.
Smiskey.
Well, Smiskey, okay.
Ryan,
In fact,
Ghost,
actually,
and
I'm going to
Smiskey.
say, I'm going to say Ghost is going to finish third.
Ooh.
And D4, I think Don's going to take the win. I think Fuzz is going to take second. And I reckon Miami's going to take third. For Division 3, Mark, I'm coming for your throat. No, I think Hardy's going to take the win. Like, seeing his pace on around here is just
He's very
insane. I'm
quick.
pretty sure he's about 4 or 5 tenths up ahead of anybody else. So I reckon Racing Point are probably going to get on the podium, both of them. So me and Hardy. But I think I'm going to be third. I think second is going to be Mark, and I think first is going to be Hardy.
Nice.
I disagree.
Ooh, we'll get to you. We'll get to you.
I think Hardy third, or yourself, J. Cole, one of the Racing Points. Mark second, Caesar for the win.
Ooh.
To be fair, that is a good shout. That is a good shout.
There's a lot of drivers. There's so many. There's like 15 drivers in D3. I could probably pick the podium. Jorno and Eduk, who got podiums in Australia, haven't even been mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Eduk's pace is decent.
No, exactly. He seems to be the quicker one of the Finns, which is very surprising to see because they're in YHYY is the other one.
Yeah.
Division 2, I think M Short's going to win. Again, if he is racing. I think second. I think if he doesn't do what he did last week, and if he doesn't have a race ban, I think Yelp will get second. And I think Dan will get third, or Exceling will get third. But again, a tough one to call, but I think I just think that's the way it's going to be. And then for D1, I'm going to go and say Alpha Trix will take the win. I think Montana will take second. And I actually think in third it's going to be Verstappen.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Verstappen will finish third.
That's an interesting one. I'll give you mine. I'm not gonna predict PC because I have no idea. So I'm gonna, in confidence, I'm gonna back yours, and hopefully you're right. But in Division 5, I'm gonna say Ryan B to win, Jav second, and United Bosnia in third. D4, I think Don will win. In second, I think it will be. My mind's gone blank. Who came third last week?
Mike.
Mike. Oh, Ivor's not winning. Ivor's gonna crash out. Now, to be fair, he might be decent. He might be decent. You know what? I'm gonna say Ivor gets another podium. I'm gonna say he gets second.
Ooh.
Controversial, I know, controversial. And third, I am gonna say Smiskey. So.
That's the wrong division, mate.
Oh, it is! Whoops, never mind. I'm gonna say. You know what? Goldie's gonna get a podium in his first race in Division 4. I'm gonna back Goldie to get a podium. Division 3, I think Hardy will win. I think he's really quick. I think yourself will be second, J. Cole. And I think Eduk will be third. I don't think.
Mark is spitting right
See,
now.
you know what? I'm doing this
Spitting
reverse
at the
psychology. Reverse psychology. You know what? I said he's not gonna win, and he's gonna go and win. So that's what I'm doing right there. But yeah, that's my top 3 for Division 3. Division 2. I mean, who? Just pick a name out of the hat, really, isn't it? I think Dan's gonna win. I think Short's gonna be second, and I think Nico's gonna be third. And in Division 1, I think Alphatrix gonna win. Neo will be second, and Montana third.
I've already given my opinion for D3, and I trust you two to say one of yours will be right for 4 or 5, and Jake will case of PC. Division 2, I'll agree with you that M Short will probably win. I'm going to say Ryan second, because it's a pad track and he's a very quick pad driver. Although I don't know how much
going on here.
Have to practice. I have no idea what Ryan's pace is. I've not seen it. I don't know of his practice yet, so just having a stab there. Third, I don't know. That's more tricky. I've had a mind blank as well. Who's in DT?
You got likes of Jerry, you got Joe. Dan, yeah.
Yeah, Dan, if it was race only in a random grid, I think Dan would maybe win, but I don't think Dan's quality pace is quite there, but his race pace is very much on point. So I think he'll get third. D1, I agree with Gary, which isn't something I thought I'd say. In Alphatrix, Neo, Montana, I don't think you can look past them 3 for the podium. No offense, straight on.
I think it would be close between Verstappen and not Montana, Verstappen and Neo. To be fair, I think if Neo just if he does Neo, then yeah, he'll be on the podium. But I feel like Verstappen, I think he's actually pretty good at this track. If my memory serves me right,
he's on par as well.
He's pretty good at this track. Yeah. So I think that's what I mean. That's just my opinion. I think I think he'll take top 3. I think Neo will get 4th, but it'll be close between him and Verstappen.
I think that's the predictions then, isn't it? We should do a table or something to keep a tally, see who gets the most predictions right over the course. That could be something actually. that'd be something.
I would have prepared notes if I knew they were going to count for something.
Well, I did. Well, I'm just saying now, off the top of my head, we could. Maybe. We'll see.
There's always that chance.
But is there anything else to talk about? Anyone else?
I can't sort of think of anything. Just
No.
if anyone isn't racing, make sure to put it in F1 non-attendance. It saves us a lot of ag.
Yeah, don't get your mates to do it either, please.
Yeah. Like if your mates are trying to do it, we're not accepting it.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, I think that's everything, isn't it? That's everything covered for this week. Hopefully everyone has a nice, clean Bahrain race, and hopefully I get my predictions right.
Hopefully. Have you got anything else to say as well, Killer?
No, I think you guys have covered it. I just hope we have 6 cracking races.
Yeah.
And I hope at the end of it that I don't get like 1 wing damage and I get at least 1 point.
Yeah, that's also true.
Leads. I don't expect too much here. I think a point is enough.
A point's enough.
No, I think that's probably fair enough as well. There is one thing I would like to say. It is just a massive thank you to everyone that obviously raced in the first race as well.
Yeah.
I think we pretty much had full grids for every single division, including the PC grid. So everyone, thank you very much for that. We're obviously logging out the season up until I think it was the 19th or 18th of December. So yeah, we've got a long road ahead of us, and yeah, hopefully we can. I say it's a long road. It will probably fly by.
It'll fly by.
But yeah, of course, everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the podcast. And we will catch you guys starting on Friday for the PC division and Saturday for the PS4 divisions.
Bye.
Bye, guys.